Live from Los Angeles, California, it's the Michael Knight Show. And welcome to another edition of the Michael Knight Show. Hope you had a great week. You got a great show lined up for you tonight. Before we get started, always, of course, I want to remind everybody, if you or you know of a band, singer, songwriter, musician, all that kind of good stuff with the music industry, producers even, promoters, anybody who would like to have their music put on the New Visions Radio, or if they would like to be interviewed and have some of their songs played right here on the Michael Knight Show, just contact me either through Facebook under Michael Knight, or at either the New Visions Radio Network page or the group page for New Visions Radio, or you can also email me at themichaelknightshow@yahoo.com. Also want to remind everybody, right over there on the like button is a like button. Sure would like it if you'd like us on Facebook. That way you can keep up with all the stuff that's going on here at New Visions Radio. Also, we have an Indiegogo campaign that's going on, trying to get some new equipment. The equipment is like falling apart around me, and we're just not making enough money yet to be able to replace the equipment. So I'm asking all of you that are wonderful listeners and supporters of New Visions Radio and the Michael Knight Show to please go to our Indiegogo page and give us a donation, or if that's a little more difficult for you than you want to do, we also have a donate button right there on the left hand side of the page. So if you could do one or the other, that would be great. It would be really helpful. I do want to give a big shout out to a couple of our donors that have given us a lot here in the last couple of days. One is Barry Eva, who does a book and a chat right here on New Visions Radio, has donated a total of $95 to our cause. And one of the musician artists that I had on not too long ago, Jay O'Neill, also donated $100, and I want to thank you both so much for it. Really appreciate it, and we just need more. We only got a few days left, and we got a long ways to go to reach our goal. And equipment isn't cheap, and and it costs us money to broadcast these shows to you. So if you enjoy what we're doing, please give us some help. And I'll tell you, I'm not one that asks for help when I don't need it, and anybody who knows me can tell you that. But we really need the help right now, and we're going to be going through some rough times if we don't get it. So if you got a chance to be able to do that, it would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, I got a very good guest on for tonight, and I got to yapping so much I forgot to load up all his files here. So let me get them for you, because you're going to really enjoy this one tonight. And if you were just listening on New Visions Radio just before this show came on, It was the Iceman's Kick-Ass Country Show, and that actually is who we're going to be having on tonight. I interviewed the Iceman just the other day, caught up with him, and we got a chance to talk a little bit. There's been so many things going on with him. I'll tell you, he's a great up-and-coming DJ, and he's doing a lot of great work for the indie artists, country indie artists. He specializes in the country music side of it. And if you're ever wanting to get your music played on his radio show as well, you can contact him at the Iceman Caverns the Iceman at the Iceman Caverns.com, and submit your music there through there if you'd like as well. And it's a pretty cool website and a great show, and we just have a lot of fun. Before I bring on the interview that I did with him, I want to take and play a couple clips from his shows so you can kind of get a gist of what he sounds like. I've heard people say that for them that he's like a combination of Wolfman Jack and Joe Pesci, and I'll tell you, when you listen to him, you almost gotta believe it. So we're gonna get on with the show here, and I'm gonna play these two clips and the interview, and we'll talk to you in a bit.
Don't keep us a secret. Pass us on.
Okay, all right.
To your friends.
Where your friends are.
Your family. Your social networking buddies. Tell them about the great music.
Great music.
With the Iceman doing it, Iceman style.
With the haze, little hounds of hell with the Iceman. Kick-ass country, new artist edition. Iceman want to give a shout out to his friends. Yeah, they're in the chat room. Camp Go for a Beer. Now that's the kind of camp I should have went to as a kid. Maybe I wouldn't have been as disturbed, because it's better to have a beer than get chased by some bees and stuff. Get teased and thrown in the river. Man, I'll tell you what. I'm looking, Camp Go for a Beer on Facebook has 996 likes. The 1,001st like on that page will win an autographed Jolie Holiday single, Waffle House, which made the countdown. So my friends at Camp Go for a Beer better let me know. Give me the name and the address. I'll send it out. Okay? They're at 996. Whoever the 1,001st person to like that page, Iceman's gonna give you a CD. Go support my friends, baby. Right now, we got my boy Zach Stiltner, little backwoods baby, with the Iceman doing it Iceman style.
And I'd like to take this time now to introduce the Iceman. Welcome to the show.
Michael, thank you, brother. How's things going?
They're going great as always, and it looks like you've been keeping yourself a little bit busy.
Yeah, normally not running from all my exes either. I'm keeping busy doing radio stuff, which is things I love, man.
No kidding. So before we get talking about all the things, because I know you've got like a ton of things going on and new stuff coming and everything else, why don't you let the people know, how'd you get interested in DJing?
Wow, man, I was about 11 years old, and there was a local radio station in Providence, Rhode Island, where I'm from. It was called JB105, and it was the top 40 station, one of the two big ones in where I lived. And one day, I was a little kid, and 11, 12 years old, they were near my house, and I decided to pop in the studio one day and just say hi to the guys that I'd listened to, and they took to me. So they became friends, man, and I would be able to go down to the station while they were doing the live shows and sit in with them, and you know, it was a real cool thing. And they also had a thing where I was on the air when I was a couple of years after that with them, and they let me do a half-hour show, and it always stuck to me, and I've always loved music, and you know, since I was a real young kid, and I kind of sing like a cross between a cat screaming and nails on a chalkboard. So I knew a singing career. Yeah, man, I knew a singing career was out of the question. But I've always had a quick wit, and it just grew. And as I got older, a little bit older, I always had a love for it. I would have, the cassette player, and I'd be announcing songs in between, and I went to school for it in the 80s, radio school, which I've won a few awards, and it didn't pan out. I kind of went in another direction, but I always had a love for music and radio.
Right.
And it brings us up to about a year and a half ago with the technology. I said, man, I want to start a station because I got so much music, and I wound up starting my own station on another platform which was meant for small broadcasters. Right. And I was producing 7 shows a week. It was my own station. I was called the Iceman because I'm a hockey guy. One day I was sitting there and going, what should I call it? I'm like, the Iceman's Cavern. I said, that works. But my shows were 7 different shows. Like Monday night I do the Billboard Top 100. And Tuesdays I do the old school hip hop. Wednesdays was classic rock. Thursdays kick-ass country. So every night I was doing 7 5-hour shows a week. Because I loved it. Yeah, 7 5-hour shows a week because I loved it. And it took off. And I remember the first show, man, I had to listen. I had to pay my mother to listen. She's on my payroll. It took off. But it took off. And not too long ago, I was approached by another station saying, wow, we got to have the Iceman, because, and it was a country station. We got to have the Iceman. And I was honored about that because I was being recognized. And,
right.
It was bittersweet because I made the move to the station. It was about a month ago when we first spoke, me and you, and it took off. I got to say that it thrusted me into the spotlight of new country music, because what I decided to do was just a niche of new country music, because there was so much good music out there that is not being heard on stations. I know it. And then I created the top 40 countdown with votes, which took off. So it actually took off, and I became the face of this station. I was, it's unbelievable how it took off. And I think what happened, Mike, was the station just felt, for lack of a better word, uncomfortable with the success I was having for some reason. And I decided, we had a few disagreements, and we amicably said, what, I think it's time, even after a month, where the Iceman has to branch off, because this is just blowing up. And that's what wound up happening. I started my own station, and it has just taken off. Syndication, I'm being syndicated now, of course, with you guys, which is awesome. Working with Australia, Ireland, I'm getting people calling me about writing on different publications. I got people calling me that want to even take me syndicated more. So it's just taken off, but I don't want to forget, I love working with new country artists, and my passion is bringing them out there. And as long as these things don't get in the way of my shows, all these business deals, hey, they're going to happen. But, 3 times a week, you're going to hear the Iceman doing what he does best, because that's what it's all about.
Well, the thing that amazes me, and I started doing indie artist shows 5 years ago on another network. And the thing that used to blow me away is some of the talent that nobody ever hears. I mean, their friends and family here, and maybe their Facebook friends here, or their Reverb Nation friends hear them, but as far as like the world itself, a lot of these people are not heard, and then when they're put on a platform like what you're doing, everybody in the world is starting to hear just how great they really are. And there's some out there that are so much better than anything you'll hear on regular radio.
Yes, and I agree. And the thing that I did was, because at first I spent 3 to 5 hours a day looking for new music, and that's what I was doing. Now I'm getting so much sent to me because the word is out. But I got to say that I do a 5-hour show, and I got about 40 hours of music for a 5-hour show. And it's tough because you're right, man. There's so much good music out there. And I didn't want to be the guy, Mike, that said, I'm just going to play that new music. And you know, so they think, hey, man, the Iceman's some schmuck in his basement playing the. No, man, I'm going to put on a show because this music is so good. I'm going to put on a show that's going to rival what the mainstream top 40 sounds like. And the artists that listen in, because they listen in and they're in my chat room when the show's on, and even the listeners they're saying this rivals top 40 Iceman, because you're taking music that no one knows about right now and you're making a show sound the way it does. And I say that's because there's so much, like you said, there's so much great music, man. And even if I get something that isn't up to par for my show and what I'm looking for, I save it and tell them, man, you don't fit on the show right now, but, you know, you because these people work hard regardless, and I let them know that. I mean, they might not fit up now, but I got a lot coming down the pipe. But there is, and I haven't even touched the iceberg of just the country indie artists.
Right. You know, I gotta agree with you. It's funny how it happens, because I was in the same boat with you. And, you know, I did mostly rock and pop music. And, you know, in the beginnings, I would spend, you know, 14 to 16 hours a day, you know, hunting for people and contacting people and trying to get, you know, music. Of course, my show is a little bit different because I generally do just interviews. I don't just play music. I do an interview plus music show. And it was like, man, I was spending all this time trying to get these people. And then as the show grew, just like yourself, as the show grew, you know, and you became known, then it was like you didn't have to search anymore, because you had so much stuff being sent to you. It was unreal. I did want to talk to you about your top 40. On your top 40, the people go to your website and they vote on who they think is their favorite. And have you had any artists that are like number one weeks in a row?
Well, I tell you what, the top 40 show is a little over a month old. And that's how it's taken off, because people think, I joke, I say, no, I've been doing the top 40 show since 1956, baby. No, I've had the George Brothers, which is out of Arkansas. Man, they are such a great bunch of guys, man. Funny. They were the number one 2 weeks in a row. They were unseated last week by Blake Anderson, I Wasn't No Angel, if you happen, you know, when you played that. But it's always like we've had, you know, it's close, like the top 5, the top 3, but there's always a couple of artists that just propel, because the voting with me is in the thousands. So the George Brothers have had, they've been really successful where they've been in the top 5 like the last 4 weeks. But as the show goes on now, because like I said, this is what you say about taking off, man. This has only been around a month. And people are like, wow, you know, no, man, I haven't been doing this since Casey Kasem, man. This has only been around a month, and here's where we're at. But the thing I wanted to do with the voting, and I got a couple of special announcements I'll let you in on in a little bit. I wanted to make it fair, because, you know, I hear other stations out there, and they want to do voting. And the first thing is, there's unlimited. So you know what? You've got your brother that's out of work, that stays home all day eating Cheetos, playing video games, and you can say, listen, just get on the computer all day and just hit refresh, vote, refresh, vote. I don't want to do that, because that's not fair. What I wanted to do, Mike, is come up with a fair way. So what I do is I say you can vote once every 24 hours. Now, if you do it on your computer and your smartphone and your tablet, you can do that. But once every 24 hours, because that's what the major voting, music voting polls, when you're voting for different things, that's what they do. So I wanted to make it fair. So that's the voting I developed, because you see other people, man, they have things, one guy's writing 50 times in a row, vote, and that's not name. Man, that's not indicative. But what I also do, sending me music, I have a lot of people sending me music now, but I still enjoy looking. And it's like mining for gold, man. Looking through on my own, going to Facebook Reverb, and always listening to the new artists. And I like finding things on my own. But what I also think is important is, man, I don't do a top 30 show with only 30, or a top 40 show with only 40 people to vote on. And that's what I'm seeing. I see other people doing, and Iceman style means I do things my way, but I don't get if you're doing the top 30, why do you just have 30 artists on there? When I do a top 40, Michael, I got to have at least double. So for my top 40, you're voting, you have at least 80 songs out of that 40.
I think that's a good idea.
And what I did, right.
I think that's a great idea because that way it gives opportunity for others to make that top 40, and it's not the same rotation of the same old songs each week with just a person in a different numbered slot.
Right, and what I had to do was, because it's being heard in different countries and everything, what I wanted to do is you can go to www.theicemanstavern.com to vote. Everything is right on my site, nice and easy. You'll see a tab that says Top 40 New Artists, Weekly Nominations. But what I thought was important, Michael, because I'm getting a lot of people from all over, is what I developed this week is on my website, the poll, when you go to that page, is on the right-hand side. But on the left-hand side, you see the voting list. But what's cool about it is any one of those 80 songs, if you click on it, it's going to take you to the song, whether it's in Reverb, iTunes, or YouTube. So that does a couple of things. First of all, it could make a person that comes across me online or, my website, and they can click and listen to something they've never heard before. So it's opening the artist up where now it's not just a thing where they have to, I want to make it easy. I don't want you to have to Google a name. So any one of those songs in my countdown, they can click on the artist's song and they can listen. Now that does another thing. It sends them to the artist's page. So now they can not even hear it. They can go, hey man, this is pretty cool. I like this person. I like this group. It's all about helping these guys that are busting their butts. And it's just another way where it's going to get sent somewhere where then I don't can hear the song, but they can also see about the artist, because that's what it's about. The biggest compliment I see will be if somebody can say, Iceman, I'm on 25 stations right now, man. And I go, brother, that's what I love, man, because I'm not in competition with any other station. I do my own thing. There's only one Iceman. And you know what? That's a compliment, man, because that's what it's all about. Plus, I'm looking to get syndicated, so maybe I'm on that station someday. But that's what it's all about, Mike. Not that the Iceman plays it himself. It's about them saying, hey, you know what? I'm all over the place. Or when somebody comes and says, Iceman, guess what? You played me on your show. Somebody from an indie label heard, and they signed me to a one-year deal, which happened. That's what it's about, man. That's what it is. And
that's right.
That's yep.
Last year, it's been it was about a year and a half ago. I actually did a show that I called Rising Star, and it was actually a contest for a contract with a recording studio out of Nashville. And we had, hundreds upon hundreds of people that sent in submissions, and we ourselves, with myself and my co-host at the time, we narrowed it down to the top 40. And then we started airing their music and allowing the people to vote, each week to narrow it down, kind of similar to like American Idol thing. Each week they'd send in new songs, they'd submit new songs and such to be voted on. And, I know what you mean about the thing about people wanting to vote, 100,000 times just, because they don't have anything better to do. And I wasn't even thinking about that at the beginning when we first started the show, and we had one person that was voting for himself, and he was just spending 8-9 hours a day voting for himself,
Right.
And and so we had to switch out the way the votes were counted, so that way only one vote per IP was allowed. We had a program that only allowed that, and that stopped that. But yeah, it's amazing, the opportunities out there for these indie artists and getting the airplay, especially through you, because you spend a lot of time with it. You have two shows that are 5 hours long, and then one show that's 3 hours. Your top 40 is 3 hours, and that's played back here on New Visions Radio on Tuesdays and that one's at 5 p.m. if I remember correct, and then the one on on Thursdays is at 4 p.m. and then the one on Saturdays starts at noon. And I keep getting confused with some of the times there. But
That's all right.
you're doing two different shows of 5 hours, and I'll tell you, I've the longest show I think I've ever done is 2 hours, and that about took it out of me.
well, you know what? I'm going to mention this in a little bit. I got another show coming out too. Well, actually, a couple of new ones that I'll share with you in a little bit. And it's a passion, man. And I have a life, man. I got a 14-year-old daughter. But, you know, it's just working hard like everybody else to get where I want to be. But I enjoy it, man. Because when I you know, it's like being an athlete. You know, when my show, and even when I played hockey, when my show was coming up and it's close, I get into the mode, and my daughter can't talk to me, and I'm just focused. And then when the mic goes on to stop the show, man, it's just fun. And I got the same energy. If your listeners hear the show, man, I got the same energy at 1 minute into the show as I do 1 minute left in the show. And I'm not on anything but life. You know, people say, what are you drinking?
Great.
No, I'm on. Don't drink anything. But yeah, so we it's a good thing, man. And I'll tell you, I got something coming out that I'm going to do, coming out soon. Of course, I started interviews with the Iceman because the artists, I wanted to give them a chance. And I wanted to talk to them. And they, because they've been asking, hey, Iceman, I'd love to do an interview. So what I did was I figured this, Mike. I said, you know what? I'm going to do an interview show. But anything I do, I put my heart and soul and my name on it. So I really do it the right way. What I wound up doing was I'm going to create a half-hour show or so where I'm going to interview just the artists themselves. And coupled with just interviewing the artist, I'm going to play their music. So when I'm done with the show and I air it, it's just that artist. Because if they want to use it in their media kit, if they want to air it, if they want to make it part of their website, they have a half-hour show with the Iceman interviewing them in just their music. I just got done doing one before we spoke.
Right.
Young man, he was the number one artist on the countdown this week, and we just sit there and talk like me and you are. And I got about 5 of his songs, and I don't do it live because I want to go in and edit it and make it sound good and put the music in there because I just don't want it. I didn't want to do a live interview because, you know, I wanted the quality to be there. So that's one of the shows. Now, I also have something else coming up that I'm excited about, like, because it's just another music. Because if you listen to my shows, the kick-ass country shows are all upbeat and high energy.
Right.
The top 40 show is voted on. So now I'm thinking there's a lot of good songs out there from these new artists that in some of the, you know, the older artists that I can't play because they don't fit the show, but they deserve to be played. So I thought it out, Michael. I said, what am I going to do? Do I want to do a slow ballad? So, nah, that doesn't fit. And we came up, and I actually got a partner in this that I brought on. He's a music publisher out of Nashville, Dale Guthrie. He's such a great guy, and me and him are partnering up. He has the music publishing, and I got the Iceman and the radio, and we were talking the other night, and he goes, Iceman, man, we got to think. I said, how are we going to do this? And what can we call it? And if it's on a Thursday, everybody and their mother has a Throwback Thursday show, and I don't want to call it that. But here's what we're going to do. Coming out within the next few weeks, Iceman's going to have a show on Thursday, probably maybe even during the day, called Kickback Thursday. And it's going to have maybe some of the older music in there, you know, and it's not just the upbeat stuff. It could be anything. But it's also a way to take these new artists that are sending me stuff that might not fit the show I'm doing now, and I can play that music too because that's important. And
right.
You know, that's probably going to be a 3-hour show. He said, Iceman, make it a 2-hour show. I'm going, I can't do a 2-hour show. I can do at least a 3, man. Are you kidding? I'm just getting warmed up after an hour and a half. So that's another one coming out, the Kickback Thursday, which I'm excited about because that could be any type of music, and it's going to have some new artists, and it's just another way of getting it out there in the interviews. So that's, I'm pretty excited about that, man, because, you know, even though it's another show, you know, it's just a way to bring out what I'm trying to do.
Right. Now, I noticed also on your website that coming in June that you're going to be having a New Country Artist Weekly magazine as well.
Yeah, and I was gonna mention that, but I figured I'd come up for air and let you talk a little bit because you know the idea. You know what, buddy, I can just talk forever.
How are you gonna find time to do everything?
I'm probably just gonna gorilla glue my eyelids open and duct tape my forehead like Joan Rivers so my eyes can't shut. No, I got some help. I got some good people back helping me. But I have the say in everything. Now, with the magazine, I'm going to have somebody, on the back end designing it on what I tell them to do. I got some good people there. But yeah, I'm going to find it. And this was something I wanted to do for about a month now because there's no one else in the business that's doing a New Country Artist magazine.
That's
so
right.
I want to do that because no one is. I want to be the first. And then if the lemmings want to follow me, they can, but it won't be as good. And what it's going to be a fully interactive digital magazine geared towards all the up-and-coming new country artists that I think deserve to be recognized. It'll be available on PC, Mac, Android, iOS. If you look it on your iPad, it's going to be an iPad edition. You don't have to download any app. And what it's going to have is videos and music and articles and interviews. And the cool thing about it is I can put a song in there, like I can put my top 40 in there, and they can just click and listen. I can put an artist like my man Jonathan East is almost at 500,000 views for a little on the redneck side. It's a magazine where I can put videos and everything in,
right.
But you actually turn the page on the device like it's a magazine. And no one else is doing that. And I had to decide though, in the interest of time, is if I do this, man, I'm all in. And I got to make sure that it's high quality because that's what I'm associating my name to. And I said, you know what? No one else is doing it, and I'm doing it. Because guess what? If Edison didn't do the light bulb quick enough, somebody else would have did it, and that would have been it for him. So right. So it's awesome, and I'm getting some play on it now. What's going to happen is that's going to come out June 1st. Hopefully, everything goes the way it should, just in time for CNA Fest in Nashville, and that's going to be our first edition because I'm heading down there, and I'm heading down there. I don't, you know what? I love country music, and it'd be cool to see the big artists play at the stadium, but guess what? I'm going down there to meet the artists that I'm playing. I'm emceeing a showcase, maybe do a few interviews. I'm going down there to see the people that I'm helping because that's what I want to do. Right. I could always see Blake Shelton or Luke Bryan. You know what? I respect them, and they're doing a lot for country music, but the ICEMAN'S all about the country music's future. And so I'm so excited to go down and see the people that I'm playing and be able to shake their hand and have a drink. And when I say drink, I mean bottled water. I don't mean tequila. So don't be mixing the two up. No. So the magazine I'm pretty excited about too. But yeah, this is and I thank and I thank people like yourself for helping. You got the show on, and and that just means so much. I mean, because that just makes it all worth it.
Well, you have a great show, and we really appreciate the ability to be able to rebroadcast your shows. I know that the people really enjoy them so much, and you're so fun to listen to, in between the songs too, because you make the show fun, and that's what is so important about it. But we're running out of time here, and I need to cut us short, unfortunately, but is there anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like everybody to know about before I let you go?
Nah, man, we're just going to keep doing it, Michael. I don't care who's out there, what's going on. Iceman keeping his head down and doing what I do every day. And like I tell the country artists that I play, man, the bigger I get, the bigger you guys are going to get because there's no sellout here, man. This is the niche I'm going to do, and it's all about them. And every day there's a new one coming out that I haven't heard of before that we're playing on the show. So it's a passion of mine. So we're just going to keep doing what we do best.
That sounds great. And if I get any country artists coming my way that are wanting to come on the show, I'll send them your way because like I said, I'm more of a pop and rock type of guy than I am country. So
right.
And I'd love to give them the opportunity to have a chance to to be heard by a bigger audience, because I know
Right.
that you're out there all over the place.
And if you have any artists, man, if any artists are listening out there that do country and they're new, the Iceman at theiceman'scavern.com. You send your music. Just make sure you have the name, your artist name, and the name of the song, because I get some stuff that's not tagged, and I get so much it's hard to keep track of. Send it over. We give it a listen, and you know what? Let's just get the word out, because that's what it's about.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and we're going to be listening to you on the airwaves.
I appreciate I'm being called the second coming of Wolfman Jack, baby, so I enjoy everything I do, Michael. You have a great day.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
And that was none other than the Iceman. And I had a great time with him. I'll tell you, he's got a great show. He's on here at New Visions Radio. He's here on Tuesdays. His show starts at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. And then on Thursdays, he starts in at 4 p.m. Pacific. That's 7 p.m. Eastern. And then on Saturdays, he's here at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. The Thursdays and Saturday shows run 5 hours long, so he's got 5 hours of great country music. So if you get a chance, tune in and check him out. Also want to remind you once again, if you're a band, singer-songwriter, musician, you want to have your music played here on the Michael Knight Show, or if you'd like to be interviewed on the Michael Knight Show, you can contact me through Facebook or at the Michael Knight Show at yahoo.com. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll be back next Monday with the singer-songwriter Ray Powers. So we'll see you then. Good night.